Hello, friends. Welcome back. Merry New Year. Uncle Marv here with the first live show of 2026. Welcome. Hope you had a fantastic holiday break. I did. Well, to a point. I'll explain that in a little bit. But we are back in the grind, and it should be a fantastic year according to all of the things that have been said in all of the publications about resetting and doing New Year's resolutions and building revenue and all of that stuff for 2026. So, according to that, it's going to be fine and fantastic. So, we shall see. Thank you for joining to the show. I've got my cup here. Thankful for our friends over at Threat Locker for sponsoring the show, as well as the others. And everything can be found over at itbusinesspodcast.com. If you are new here, whether you're watching by YouTube or the LinkedIn, thank you for joining us. We also have an audio version, which can be found in your favorite podcatcher. If you don't know which one, head over to the website, and all of the podcatchers that we stream to are there. Just pick one, search for Uncle Marv's IT Business Podcast, and catch us anytime. So let me start off by giving a little bit of apology because I had a huge show planned. I got my graphics department to put out a fantastic image. New year, new MSP. I had the guests lined up and we were going to go over a whole bunch of stuff, and they had to cancel. First week back, busy, busy, busy. I reached out for a backup, and that was a possibility up until a few minutes ago. So I'm winging it, folks. I hope that you will join me in the chat if you have comments or questions on the show. But yeah, we will continue on here. I'm never going to leave you in a lurch. If I plan a show, I'm going to do a show. Might not be a good one, but we'll do it. So that apology there right off the bat. I also want to go ahead and give you a little bit of a personal update. For those of you that were with the show back in 2021, right when we made the switch from being named Podnuts Pro to the IT Business Podcast, we ran into a snag the first week of January in that year as well. And that was more of a personal front. And that happened again this year. And I'll have to give a whole timeline of stuff. But I want to start by asking, what is your first crazy thing that has happened? Whether it is something that happened either right before or right after Christmas, the week between Christmas and New Year's when most of us try to take time off, or even this week as my guest had, just crazy stuff happen. I had a bunch of stuff happen. So right before the holiday, actually right before the Christmas holiday party, I had the ISP for one of my law firms reach out, and apparently they all of a sudden were ready to do upgrades at two of the locations, which were supposed to be done back in October. And I thought, well, that's great because I'm going to take some time off. But the client's like, please, 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 please. So the Monday and Tuesday after Christmas, I actually had to take a trip up to Orlando and Port St. Lucie and do some upgrades of some SD-WAN appliances and test failover and do all that stuff. So that was the first 2 days of my supposed time off. And then New Year's Eve, mom got sick. She was tired during the holidays, but apparently her levels had gone way down. For those of you that do not know, my mom was diagnosed in 2021 with multiple myeloma. It is a bone cancer, and she also has extenuating circumstances where her liver is affected, or her blood plasma is affected. So if her blood levels get low, she gets super tired. She is on dialysis 3 days a week, and that is her life. And she has been fantastic. She has been here 5 years. There is no real timeline. So it's not something where, she was one of those cancer 6 months to live, the sort of a thing. It was, yep, you got it. It's all up to you as to how long you live. So, of course, she is stubborn. So she is trudging along. But it did happen where she had to go into the hospital, and I spent New Year's Eve and New Year's Day up in Melbourne, Florida with her in the hospital. I'm going to be careful about how much information I give because I know my sister, who used to be the vice president of something, sometimes listens to the show and she may go rat on me for what I say. But that happened. So those 2 days, so Monday and Tuesday, were all fun and games with the client. And then Wednesday and Thursday, that was my night for New Year's. So no typical New Year's celebrations with the family, no fireworks. We didn't even watch uh, the the ball drop or anything. I ended up watching a bunch of stuff on my tablet while we sat in the bed. So I came back home Thursday night. I had Friday, a little bit of time Friday. Oh, and I had to do an upgrade of a computer on Saturday. And so I neglected to do all of my podcast duties. So that's why I was so counting on the guests to be here, but they're not. So that was that. And then the reason I ask about what's your first crazy, and I really do want you guys to send me an email. You can put it in the chat here. What's your first crazy? Because I thought my first crazy was the client that wanted me to do these ISP upgrades over Christmas. But then yesterday, I get a request from TJ, one of the juniors that I work with at a client that I co-manage. TJ's been working at this client, I believe, um, a year and a half, maybe, um, maybe more. Uh, but this is a client where I have TrueGrid set up for them to work remotely. And TJ, yesterday, I guess for the first time ever, was given permission to work from home and asked, if I could set him up. And TJ did not remember that I set him up long, long time ago when we first set up TrueGrid, that he could go in and use it because he needs to be able to access remote servers and all of that stuff. So I sent him the instructions once again. I sent him both ways to set up, both from Windows and from Mac. And folks, do you know that it took TJ over an hour to get himself set up with TrueGrid? And I was beside myself. TrueGrid is one of the easiest things to do. And usually, if there are people with issues, it's usually somebody maybe a little older, maybe not really familiar with tech, downloading the authentication app. That usually is the hardest. But apparently he had a whole bunch of issues where, well, first let me ask you this. Let me go back. Because when he called me to tell me he was having trouble connecting, he was using one of the firm's laptops to get himself set up. And I said, okay, that's fine. But when you get home, you're going to have to, do this again on your computer. And he goes, oh, I'm taking this home. TJ doesn't have a computer at home. I was shocked. I don't understand how, first of all, how does anybody not have a computer at the house, let alone somebody who is working as we are in technology, supposedly wanting to, manage a network and do all of this stuff. I could not understand how TJ doesn't have a computer at home. So I wanted to ask those of you out there, are there any of you that are at the, do you not have a computer at home? Now, I probably understand that if you have worked and you're just, on computers all day long, you may not want to get on a computer. Like, I don't go home and game. I know a lot of you are gamers and you go home and do that. I know a lot of you go home and you have your NASs and your Plex servers and your home labs and you're testing stuff and doing all your things. I don't do that. I don't have any of that stuff at home. I have no smart things at my house. I work, I come home. We've got a computer. I've got a home office so that if a client needs assistance, if I decide to work home from the day, I've got a station there, dual monitors. I can remote in, do everything I need to do. I can VPN to my office. I may test firewalls. I'll take the Sonic Wall and Ubiquity. I'll take all that stuff home. I'll do the acts. I'll test it out there, but I don't get overly excited about having tech at the house. I was just shocked that Junior did not have a computer at the house. So I I was beside myself, first of all. So working through that, we were doing all of that. And then today, same client, same TJ, we were working with a copier vendor who took over these copiers, and there were a total of 6 copiers at this client, multiple locations. And I guess since they took over, they've not been getting the copy counts sent back to them, which this is a law firm, so they need copy counts to bill back to the clients. TJ's been handling that. But the other thing that comes in is apparently they have an allowance as to how much color they can get for free before they're billed extra. And the copy company is supposed to be getting notifications when the toner's low so they can send out toner. It's all part of the program. And apparently they have not been getting that. Now, this company took over in June of 2024, and they're just now getting around to asking us, well, we want to put in software that will manage the computers for us and send all of this stuff, or we can put in these, what they call patrol boxes, and those boxes will go out and scan the networks and grab all that information and all of that stuff. They're just now getting around to that. So I get with the person because I'm like, we want the boxes. I don't want you installing anything on the servers there. So we've got to go through, okay, tell me about the boxes. Can I, set up an IP reservation? Can you give me MAC addresses? I don't know the MAC addresses because we don't have the boxes. I've got to confirm the copiers and the serial numbers. Then I request the boxes, and then they'll come in tomorrow, and then I program them. I'm like, well, can you send me the IP when you program them? Yes, I can do that. Blah, blah, blah. And they asked, well, can we get into the copiers and verify the serial numbers? And I had some of these that I had documented, but this is one of those clients where I don't manage the copiers. This vendor does. I, of course, have always monitored them in the sense of I make sure that, I can see them in my Domotz. If anything happens where a copier goes offline, I call the customer and check. And up until a while ago, I had been logging into the copiers every now and then to assist with scan to email and stuff, but I hadn't been in there in a while. So today I go to log in with the vendor on the phone, and the password doesn't work because TJ had decided to change the password to all the copiers and not let me know. So that was my day, folks. It was fun. So, and of course, this is, the TJ that worked from home, and it took forever for him to respond back because I don't think he was really working from home. So that was that. So if you have some of those fantastic stories in this first week of 2026, let me know, and I will try to respond to those and get back to those. I do have to give a shout out. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name, so I won't, but I want to say thank you to a gentleman who sent me an email after watching the Techies and Trekkies show and recommended that I watch Star Trek Prodigy. And unfortunately, I had to say I'd never heard of it. So apparently, Star Trek Prodigy is one of those shows that is another spinoff, the Star Trek series. There apparently are 2 seasons. And when I went to go look it up, the second season is available for free on the Amazon. The first is available for pay. So I was trying to figure out where I could go find season 1 and start to do that. So I haven't started watching it yet. I will be doing that. I'm going to reach out to my Star Trek friends and see if we want to do some sort of podcast update or watch party or something like that. So if you are somebody that is interested in watching Star Trek Prodigy, or you have watched Star Trek Prodigy and you want to just give me, a thumbs up or a thumbs down, don't tell me plots. Don't tell me, watch for this episode. Don't give me any of that. I want to watch it from start to finish without knowledge. I want to, learn things as they're happening. I don't want to be preempted with any character bios or any, big events or anything like that. But Star Trek Prodigy is next on my list. All right. So I've done those here. Let me go ahead and give my side of what we were going to do with the new year, new MSP. And of course, there's always what we consider the resolutions. And, there's always the things that, you're not supposed to do, or you're supposed to stop doing, like stop underpricing your services, stop running never ending projects. The thing with stop underpricing your services, we always see these discussions in all of the forums and stuff. And the bottom line is there are some MSPs that are undercutting other MSPs just to get the business. And low pricing doesn't win loyal clients, it attracts bargain hunters. And I think that is one of the things that has hurt us in this industry for all these years, is that we are training clients that, price is the driving factor, not whether or not their data is safe, not whether or not their cybersecurity is up to par, or whether their response time is well. We're teaching them that price is the issue. So, one, we've got to stop underpricing, and we got to stop eroding our profit margins. Some other things to stop doing in 2026. Stop ignoring client onboarding discipline. So do not skip a structured onboarding. Um, don't forget to get those baselines. If you find a security gap, either fill it or make a plan to fill it, and make sure that you are doing user training, because poor onboarding drives up those ticket numbers and it destroys trust early. So have yourself a well-documented onboarding playbook to lower churn and improve that first year profitability. We've got to stop assuming that cybersecurity is handled. And what I mean by handled is we've got to stop letting clients think that it is just part of the service. It cannot be buried in a bundle price unless it is set up as a surcharge, or it is a higher bundle than your basic bundle, if that makes sense, depending on how you bill. I know that some of you just try to do an all-in, all-you-can-eat price, and it's just there, and the clients never know exactly what's included in that, or you just may list it as a line item. One of the things that I do is I have a basic RMM, support price, and I have a cyber price, and I've got some other stuff there. But my clients know that if you want to get that basic price, you're not getting your cybersecurity. That is going to be extra. So there is either going to be a surcharge or it's going to be a different package. So we need to let customers know that, yeah, not everything is included day one unless you're buying the whole bit and caboodle. That goes back to stop underpricing your services. One of the things that is mentioned here is to stop using too many vendors. That's going to be a big discussion with tool sprawl and the bundles that you can get from vendors. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to stop here. Stop accepting every client. Bad fit consumes resources, creates chaos, and hurts your brand. Learn to say no, because saying no to those who won't follow standards, those who won't pay on time, or who won't value your model, fewer clients beat more bad clients every time. I didn't write that properly, but I think you get the drift there. So, what we were going to do is we were going to talk about practical, actionable New Year's resolutions for MSPs. So, I'm going to list a few of these here. I'm hoping that we can come back on and get my person and we can go deeper because, again, I said this, we were going to have two parts to this. So, you're only getting one part. But I think that it's important to go ahead and give you my part because I think it does stand alone. Um, so when we talked about pricing and we talked about that, stop underpricing your services, one of the things to do is make a resolution or a plan to reevaluate service margins on a regular basis. Um, Most of the time, I think people talk about doing it as a quarter, where instead of waiting until the end of the year to kind of figure out if you're profitable or not, look at each quarter as its own self contained bucket. Some people go as much as doing it monthly, but performing a profit margin audit, and that means, looking at your service categories. Do you need to adjust prices because you bid something by mistake, or a client is all of a sudden, if you're billing on a model where it is all you can eat, or, you know, all remote services included, but yet they're taking up way much more time than you thought, that has to be something that you may want to look at. Either if you can't adjust the price because of a contract that you're in, maybe you have to adjust the way the tickets are handled or figure out a way to do that automation thing to make things happen faster. Maybe it's a communication deal with that client, time for a QBR, all of that stuff. So, the first actionable step that I would say is to figure out a plan to evaluate that service margin on a regular basis. Quarterly is recommended. If you can do it monthly, I would do it monthly because you never realize how much a bad month can start a decline for the rest of the year, especially if you've set up a client with a long-term deal and you're losing money in the get-go. I usually, for me, and not to say that I'm doing this, 100% the right way, the price that we talk about in the beginning is not the final price until we have been together 90 or 120 days. And that's because a lot of times when you go in after first contact, you're going to find all of a sudden there's these desktops and laptops that they didn't tell you about. There's servers in the closet that they didn't tell you about. There's software that they want you to help manage. I had a client today who all of a sudden has asked me to start managing some software that I was never told about because the people that use it are never in the office. So now we're looking at that. We are so yeah, this is actually going into month 4. So we had done one adjustment already. So we are going to have to talk about another adjustment. Another actionable step that you can take as a New Year's resolution, I mentioned already cybersecurity, add a cybersecurity surcharge. So, again, if you are line item billing, that's an easy thing to do. You just add cybersecurity as a line item. If for some reason you are just doing a bundle price and let's say at the end of year 1, you're going to add on the latest MDR, EDR, or whatever. Maybe part of the agreement, whether it's your statement of work or your annual, increase, needs to be you're just going to add a line that just says cybersecurity, whatever, so that that gets in there. In terms of health, and I want to put this in here, I moved this to the beginning because I think that one of the things we need to do, a lot of people talked in 2025 about needing to take a break, needing to recharge. That is something that I myself even had to do it. I had to take the summer off from traveling. But what I have always done is I have established a no after hours alert rule. And larger MSPs probably are easier at this because you've either got, a second shift or third shift, or you're doing a help desk where you've got customer support after hours. Smaller MSPs, solo technicians probably don't. And I know that we've had conversations with people that their cell phone is their call-in number and it's available 24/7, and they will take that call at 10 o'clock on a Friday night. I decided a long time ago that was not going to happen. And even when I did have technicians, the technicians were not allowed to give out that cell, cell phone number. The only number the customers had was the office number. And there were times where we did have, hey, if this is an emergency, hit 1 or 9 or whatever it was, and then it would go to an on-call person. But now, you know what? It goes to voicemail. I can get the voicemail after hours. I can choose to listen to it and answer it if I want to, but no more alerts. That means the biggest alerts thing, I think, is if you are getting your RMM alerts to your phone, stop it. Or turn your phone on focus so that after a certain hour, those alerts don't ping your phone. You may get them silently or something like that, but don't sit there at 7 o'clock when you're eating dinner with the family or watching the TV, and all of a sudden your phone dings and you're looking. No, stop that. Figure out a way to stop the after hours stuff. If you are the owner and you're like, oh, I have text for that, think about their mental health as well. Figure out a way that if they are not on call, or if they are not in the office working as your help desk or something, if they're off, let them be off. That should be something to take in consideration. So that should be one of your New Year's resolution for this year. Something that I kind of did a couple of years ago, and we've talked about it a little bit here. I tried to keep it a secret, but it sneaks out every now and then. Create a peer mastermind with other MSPs. So if you are not a part of the established peer groups, the ones that you pay for where they are holding you accountable, or even the free ones. And, ASCII Spark is one of those peer groups that is free if you are a member of ASCII. PAX8 has groups. ConnectWise IT Nation has them. There are a ton of those. Carl Palachuk's SMB community has that stuff. Put together a mastermind group if you are not a part of one of those, so that you can exchange insights. You can talk about the things that we were talking about tonight in terms of pricing models. You can talk about vendor management. You can talk about growth strategies, things to avoid, operating. If you are a solo tech, especially, you do not have to go alone on this track. There are too many resources, and there are too many people, too many MSPs, too many vendors that are willing to give information and help. There's tons of business out there. We're not fighting each other, so take the time to do that. Let's see where we at in time, because I know that I have been talking a lot. All right, let's do this. Let's take a quick break and thank our sponsor here. So I will be right back after this. Tonight's live stream is brought to you by ThreatLocker, the zero trust security platform designed for today's MSPs. Forget hoping your antivirus catches the bad stuff. ThreatLocker flips the script with a deny by default, allow by exception model, meaning only the apps and scripts you trust are allowed to run. With powerful tools like application allow listing, ring fencing, storage, and network controls, privilege elevation, and built-in EDR and MDR, ThreatLocker gives you true preventative security, all from one easy-to-manage console. And they're not stopping there. ThreatLocker keeps raising the bar with integrated patch management, web control, Microsoft 365 cloud control, plus the new user store and insights, helping you simplify your stack while tightening security across every client. So if you're ready to make zero trust your competitive advantage, check out the link in the show notes. Protect more and manage less with ThreatLocker. All right. I also want to say thank you to other sponsors of the show, and you can visit them at itbusinesspodcast.com. Sponsors, of course, my legacy sponsor, NetAlly, and our gear sponsor last year, LionGuard, Travel Partners, OneStream by VoIP, TrueGrid, our internet sponsor, Rhythms, and web sponsor, Designer Ready. We'll be talking about them hopefully here in just a few weeks. So that is that. I probably should have at the beginning of the show said thank you to Dave Sobel and Carl Palachuk. They were the official first episode of the year. It was an audio episode. So again, if you are watching this and you don't get the audio episodes, head over to the website and figure out where you can catch them on the podcatcher. The big news of the year was not something from a vendor or any of the big major players in our space. It was Dave Sobel's MSP Radio, Acquiring Small Biz Thoughts. And I had Dave and Carl on to talk about that. And the big quote that I put on the social media is that separately they are chocolate and marshmallow, together they're s'mores. And somebody had the audacity to make a comment that he would differ with that because he was a part of, and I'm looking it up real quick because I can't remember, I'd never even heard, I don't believe this even exists, but it was as a member of the Graham Cracker Society, I am shocked and appalled at your bold statement on s'mores. So I just basically said to the person, I don't believe you, show me your membership card, because I have never heard of the Graham Cracker Society. It's probably something like Nap Nation, people that go out to their cars during lunch and, sleep in their car instead of actually having lunch or staying in the office. Nap Nation is kind of an unofficial society. So I wonder if the Graham Cracker Society is unofficial as well. So, all right. I don't think I want to continue on more here. I see that I want to thank you for those of you that have joined the show here and watched. I know that, listen, I know it's the first week of the year. People are popping in, popping out. I know there's a couple people that are staying on, being quiet as per usual. I have a lot of people that just like to listen. Maybe you're listening while you're, ironing or cooking, who knows. But I thank you all for that. My throat is starting to get a little raspy here. So instead of continuing on too much, I want to go ahead and end the show. I may not be here next week. I should have said that at the beginning of the show as well. As I mentioned, my mom with her multiple myeloma, she has an appointment in Tampa next Wednesday and has asked that I be the person that go up and pick her up in Melbourne, drive her over to that appointment. So I don't know if I'm going to be in a position where I can do a show next Wednesday night. So right now, nothing is scheduled. If that should change, then I will do it. The day after that, I will be headed to Orlando for PodFest, which is a podcasting conference in Orlando. So there's going to be a lot of driving next Wednesday and Thursday. I'll be in Orlando Thursday, Friday, Saturday, driving home Sunday. So again, a lot of time on the road. So there will be a show the Wednesday after Podfest, and that show will go on as continued or as scheduled, and then regular shows after that, I believe, well into March. So our live show on the 21st, I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to be jinxing things. I don't want people canceling on me, but that show is scheduled and in the books. So what we will do here is I promised you all that we will be doing a weekly top 10. So with that, here is tonight's top 10 list. And this will be short. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but number 10. Oh, I should have given you the category. Tonight's top 10 are 10 things that you would hear a client say right before the server crashes. I know some of you don't have servers, so substitute the word network in between that. So the top 10 things you might hear a client say before the server crashes. Number 10. I installed some updates myself over the weekend. Number 9, we turned off those annoying alert pop-ups. They were stressing everybody out. Number 8, everything's been running great. We haven't had to reboot in over 3 years. Number 7, we don't need backup. It's all in the cloud, right? Number 6, I swear there's a ghost in the router. It keeps turning off by itself. Number 5, the intern said she'd handle the firmware update during business hours. Number 4, oh, we disabled that security stuff. It was slowing everything down. Number 3, oh, we decided to use the same password for everything now. It's easier to remember. Number 2, the intern said oh, I did that one already. What happened? Somebody did my stuff out of order. Let me look real quick and see if I can find it. Ah, we're having a joy. First day back. I got staff to help me, and this is where we are. And I got to enter my password. So apparently, number 5 was that. So I think there was a mistake in. Nope, I don't know. So it'll be 2 here. So way to go. So the intern said she'd handle the firmware update during business hours, but I'll have to talk to somebody. So tonight's top 10 is brought to you from the home office in Mill Creek, Utah. I'm going to have to reach out to them and get this straightened out for next week. The number one thing that a client would say before the server crashed, I gave my nephew admin rights. He's good with computers. And I probably should have had a drum roll. I'll have the applause more. So that's it. All right. So listen, first show of the year, folks. It's been hectic. It's been fun. Let me know your crazy client stories, and let me know if you are somebody that has either already watched Star Trek Prodigy or would like to watch Star Trek Prodigy and chat about it, whether on the show or doing a watch party or something to that nature. I'm going to go ahead and end off. As I said, my throat's getting a little scratchy here, so that is going to do it. Again, thank you to Dave and Carl for doing the podcast yesterday. You can find that already released on the show. This episode will go live in the audio version overnight. I may or may not be here next week. because of my mom's appointment in Tampa, but I will let you know. And we will be back here for sure on the 21st. So I do again want to say thank you to ThreatLocker. Thank you to our other sponsors. Uh, be sure to go over to the itbusinesspodcast.com website and support them. Check out the Amazon store. If you would like to support the show, that's probably the best way to do it. Just use that link, shop as you normally would, and I'll get a little bit of commission. That made things really nice last year. I was able to get some additional stuff and pay for some services. So thank you. That's going to do it, folks, for this episode. And we look forward to a fantastic 2026. We'll see you soon. And until then, holla.